رمضان طبيبي، معناك جليل بقلب جميل، يحوم النور بأنحائي، يحوم النور بأنحائي.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah, today is the first part of a series on the medical fiqh of fasting. And inshallah, in this series, we wish to discuss a few aspects of this important topic, especially considering the month of Ramadan is on our doorstep. Firstly, a few opening remarks. We often understand that many of us have various types of chronic illnesses and are taking various types of medication, and we take the medication in various different ways. However, this desire to continue fasting and for us to understand how our illnesses and taking of medication will impact on our fasting. Secondly, many people are not sure what treatments are actually allowed to be taken during the month of Ramadan while fasting, and what procedures can be done also while fasting. So the objective of the series is to discuss what medications and what medical interventions will invalidate the fast and what won't. And we also wish to discuss in the series how ulama, in conjunction with medical professionals, decide on what invalidates the fast and what doesn't, inshallah. So the scope of this series is to define various aspects with regards to fasting, to understand how the ulama and the fuqaha use principles on what invalidates the fast, to discuss specific medical procedures and fasting, and also to discuss various medications and how they are taken besides the oral route and how they would impact on the fast. So with regards to definitions, what is fasting, or the word sawm in Arabic? We understand linguistically this means to abstain, but the Sharia definition is a more detailed one. According to the Sharia, fasting is to abstain from entering anything into the body, either intentionally or accidentally, as well as abstaining from engaging in marital relationship from the time the sun begins to rise till the time it sets, along with the intention of fasting, which is important. And finally, it's for those individuals upon whom fasting is compulsory, because we will see later in the next slide that there are certain people that are exempt from fasting. So that is fasting according to the Sharia. The Quran has a few ayat that mention fasting and various aspects of fasting. Firstly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. That, O believers, fasting is prescribed for you and it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may learn self-restraint, this concept of taqwa. Another ayat of the Holy Quran, Allah says, أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. That fasting the prescribed number of days, except if any of you is ill or on a journey, let him fast a similar number of days later. For those who cannot endure it for medical reasons, there is a ransom, the feeding of one poor person for each day missed. But if he feeds more out of his own will, it is better for him. However, if you truly understand the rationale of fasting, it is better for you to fast. And then further, another ayat of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. That it is the month of Ramadan in which the Quran was revealed, a guidance for mankind with clear teachings showing the right way and a criterion of truth and falsehood. Therefore, any one of you who witnesses that month should fast therein, and whoever is ill or upon a journey shall fast a similar number of days later on. Allah intends you your well-being and does not want to put you to hardship. He wants you to complete the prescribed period so that you should glorify His greatness and render thanks to Him for giving you guidance. So with regards to these conditions of fasting, First, we have the spiritual and mental qualifications. An individual obviously has to have Iman and be a Muslim. He has to have the aql, the comprehension of what he is doing. So he has to be an aqil person, a person who has a capacity to comprehend, and he has to be a mature person, or he or she has to be baligh. Secondly, the condition of physical qualification for fasting is that the person must be in a healthy bodily state, and he must be a resident. That means he shouldn't be on safar or traveling. And finally, the qualification with regards to his will and purity. This aspect of intention is very important part of fasting and a condition of fasting. And secondly, the lady must be free from menstrual bleeding or postnatal bleeding. Those upon whom fasting is not obligatory is the children that haven't reached their age of bulugh, persons who are incapable of fasting due to either physical weakness, patients who are acutely unwell, who are frail or elderly, those with terminal diseases. These patients will be required to offer compensation. Then you have people who have chronic diseases like diabetes, chronic obstructive airway disease, and various other conditions. These patients also will be required to pay a compensation, that is fidya. And then you have patients who have mental illnesses and they lack the comprehension and understanding of fasting. And then the others that fasting is not necessarily obligatory on are those who are either pregnant or breastfeeding and whose health and the child's health will suffer from fasting. These are the individuals that will have to make up for the fast after the month of Ramadan. And then we have the menstruating woman and women who have postpartum bleeding. Again, they will have to make up for the fast after the month of Ramadan. And then those who are musafir or are traveling. A very important aspect of fasting is this intention to fast. It has to be made before the day of the fast is being undertaken, before the subh, sadiq or dawn. Generally, the intention can be made just before the commencement of the fast, or it can be made the night before after the iftar of the preceding fast. Important concepts to understand. Firstly, the concept of qada. This is making up a missed fast of Ramadan on another day other than the month of Ramadan. So if you've missed a fast for a valid reason, then to make up this fast is called qada. Then we have the concept of fidya or atonement, where someone cannot fast the month of Ramadan for valid reasons, and they cannot make up for these fasts again in days after month of Ramadan. For example, a severely chronically ill person or frail old person, they should then pay for someone else to feed or to be fed. And then this concept of kafara. Kafara is an expiation. This is a situation as a compensation. The compensation is paid if you deliberately break the fast of month of Ramadan or deliberately do not fast the month of Ramadan. And this is a fast of 60 consecutive fast or feeding 2 meals a day for 60 days. The actual nitty-gritty of each of these concepts should be discussed with your local imam to be able to understand where you generally fit in if these situations do arise. So inshallah, this is the first part of our series. Inshallah, we will continue in the next part. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بالأمس وأنت الكون هدى نفح للطين